Hey everyone, thanks for joining for another Floof and Feathers comic drawing video. Appreciate everyone being here. As you may know, I've mentioned in the past few videos so far, we are doing Inktober this month. This is something that comes up every October. There are some daily drawing prompts from the Inktober channel, I guess you could call them. They're on Instagram, they're on Reddit. It's a whole kind of art community setup. And every October, they put out a list of daily drawing prompts for daily uh, arts challenges you can do throughout the month. So instead of my normal weekly comics that I usually do for the month of October, I am taking these prompts and doing daily one panel comics for as much of the month as I can. I know I've stated before I'm not going to be able to do one every single day during October, but I'm going to try to do as many of the prompts this month as I can. So that's what we're doing now. This is Inktober day 10 currently. The prompt for today was Crabby. So, as you can see here, just from the sketch I'm putting together, I am drawing Finnegan in his bathrobe with his morning coffee cup, just looking very tired and very disheveled, not happy to be awake. So it just seemed like a pretty fitting character study for a prompt like Crabby. I will say Finnegan does we do not let him have coffee in real life. That is just more artistic license that I take with the comic. If you've read the comic before, if you've seen some of the videos, then you know. But if you're new, if you just kind of found this by happenstance, if you're new to the series, I write and draw this. It's called Floof and Feathers. And this is a webcomic series that is inspired by our real life pets. We have two dogs and a cockatoo. As you can imagine, they get up to some pretty wild antics sometimes, never lacking for source material, so that's always great. I don't remember when it was. Was it last summer, maybe last winter? I think I did a couple of comics about our cockatoo Olivia and our youngest dog Pippin actually getting into the coffee. And I stated at that time also that we don't actually let them have caffeine. Olivia, our bird especially, make sure that she stays away from it. I mean, if we're having like some herbal tea or something, and she really wants the mug, okay, we'll let her have a little sip, whatever. But with the regular coffee, no, we do not let them have that. So just want to make sure everyone is well aware of that. Full disclaimer, Finn does not actually drink coffee. But I thought it would be funny to show him in his natural morning grumpy state, just not wanting to be up, wanting to be left alone, being tired and a little cranky. Um, because Finn, you are like that in the morning, aren't you, buddy? He's just sitting over in the next room while I'm recording this. I'm sure he's not happy that I'm talking about him and telling the internet what a grump he is in the morning, but he is. That's the truth of it. Especially because his little brother Pippin, the younger dog, Pippin is just full energy right out of the gate first thing in the morning, just raring to go once he wakes up. Uh, Finnegan kind of wants to be left alone for a little while, wants to wake up in his own time, and Pip is not always the best at respecting that. So Finn can be a little crabby in the morning sometimes if Pippin is really getting in his face. But that was mainly the inspiration for today's subject matter for Inktober Day 10. Just because this is this kind of state that you see him in, this is very much how Finn is first thing in the morning. So unfortunately, out of the three of them, he just, this is just luck of the draw. This was the most fitting subject matter for today's Inktober challenge. And again, and I mentioned Inktober. They're all over the internet. You can find them on Reddit, Twitter, and Instagram is where I that's where I primarily follow them and find the prompts every year. So if you're kind of new to getting into art, if you want to explore and experiment with your style more and trying to find some inspiration, the month of Inktober is always a great way to do that. So, highly encourage everyone to go ahead and check that out if you're able to. It's a great way to find some new inspiration for drawing things that you might not have thought to before. Okay, so you can see here I'm erasing part of Finn's bathrobe that I colored in, and that's because I realized I wanted to, even though the robe and the tie rope are going to be the same color, I want to shade and texture them separately so that it doesn't blend together too much. So I erased that and did the main robe on one layer, and now I'm doing the tie rope and the robe cuffs on a separate layer, so that way I can shade those with the same tool and it'll give it the same kind of texturing, but it won't just look like one flat layer item. That just helps it kind of look a little not realistic, but I mean, because I mean, obviously you can see from my drawing style is not one that really aims for realism. It's very cartoony, just because A, that's what I enjoy, and B, that's what I'm good at. I'm not good at realism. I know that about myself. I don't know if any amount of practice would change that. Um, but doing it this way at least helps things to look a little more recognizable, I would say at least. Helps things pop in the right way. I just like going through now on another layer and actually doing some of the color shading on the robe. Again, that just helps it to not be just one single layer of just flat color because that gets very boring very quickly. Um, if you if you're familiar with my full comic series backlog, if you've gone back to the very early days of this comic series when I first started it, you'll see there is a very stark contrast between what I'm drawing here today versus what I was drawing a little over 2 years ago when I first started. It's like night and day. Um, just didn't really have that full grasp of color shading and using layers effectively. It was very much a learning process. Just kind of had to teach myself as I went over the course of several years, but here we are now. And I'll say, if anyone is if you're new to this series, if you do want to see some of those early comics, first of all, uh, you know, that's your choice. If you want to go back and look at those really early ones. But if you are interested in reading the full comic series, I do have a link to my home website in the description below. So you can check that out. You can read the full series of comics. And you can also find there's Floof and Feathers merchandise, as well as my own personal art store online that I have all available through that link. So definitely want to check that out if that's something you're interested in. Something else you can find in that link as well is Floof and Feathers is also on Patreon. So if you want to help support the series further, you can sign up for that. There's lots of really great bonus content and behind the scenes features you can get that's available for supporters. There are preview sketches for every comic that are released before the finished version comes out. Uh, Little warning, during Inktober, those previews aren't going to be as far ahead of time as they normally are. When I'm doing my regular weekly comics, those preview sketches usually come out, something like 3 to 4 days before the finished comic is released. Versus during the month of Inktober, these preview sketches are coming out, a day beforehand, just because I'm cranking out a new one panel comic every day. So, but after that, once it goes back to regular weekly comics, the rest of the time you'll see preview sketches coming out, almost a week ahead of time. You can also participate in reader polls when those are posted. And there's also things like exclusive Floof and Feathers wallpapers and sticker packs that come out every month. So lots of really cool bonus content and behind the scenes features you can get. So again, if those are the sorts of things that you're interested in, definitely want to check that out. But anyway, links to that, my home website, and all my social media presence, that's all below in the description. So if you want to follow along, leave a comment and a like, say hi, always greatly appreciate it. But anyway, that being said, just want to say thank you again to everyone for watching today's Floof and Feathers comic drawing video, and I'll see everyone again tomorrow for more Inktober fun.